From Neural Newscast, this is Deep Dive, exploring the moments that shape today.
Welcome to Deep Dive from Neural Newscast. I am Adriana Costa.
And I'm Daniel Brooks. Today is April 19th, 2026, and we are looking at a date that has repeatedly redefined the course of history, from the rural fields of colonial Massachusetts to the high-tech laboratories of Switzerland.
It is a day of definitive starts. One event in particular changed the map of the world forever. But we are also celebrating three very different figures who left their marks on law, leadership, and laughter.
But first, we have to go back to the spring of 1775. It is the morning of April 19th in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and the air is thick with more than just the morning mist. This was the moment the tension between a crown and its colonies finally reached the breaking point.
This was the start of the American Revolutionary War. According to records from the National Park Service, British troops had been ordered to seize colonial military supplies in Concord. But when they reached Lexington, they were met by about 77 militiamen waiting on the town green. They were outnumbered and outgunned, yet they stood their ground.
From an urban policy perspective, Adriana, it is fascinating to see how the geography of these small towns dictated the conflict. The militia weren't just soldiers, they were locals defending their homes and streets. When that first shot rang out, nobody actually knew who fired it, but it became immortalized as the shot heard round the world.
That single moment turned a political dispute into a full-scale war. By the time the British reached the Old North Bridge in Concord, hundreds of militiamen were waiting. The retreat back to Boston was a harrowing journey for the Redcoats, as they were harassed by colonial snipers hidden behind trees and stone walls the entire way. It effectively trapped the British Army in Boston, leading to a year-long siege. It is hard to overstate the significance. Before April 19th, there was still a lingering hope for reconciliation with England. After April 19th, there was only the long and bloody road to independence. Speaking of the road to independence, that leads us directly to one of our birthday celebrations. Roger Sherman was born on this day in 1721.
Sherman is a giant of American law, though maybe not as much of a household name as Thomas Jefferson or John Adams. But Adriana, he holds a unique record in American history that sets him apart from every other founder.
He really does. Daniel, he is the only person to have signed all four of the major founding documents of the United States. We are talking about the Continental Association of 1774, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, and finally, the United States Constitution itself.
Think about the logistical and intellectual stamina required for that. He was involved in every single phase of the nation's architectural design. As a lawyer, he was known for being incredibly pragmatic, which helped bridge the massive gaps between the various factions of the Founding Fathers during those heated debates.
While Sherman was building a new nation in North America, our next birthday takes us south to Brazil. Getúlio Vargas was born on April 19th, 1882.
Vargas is a fascinating figure for anyone interested in how countries modernize. He served as the president of Brazil during two very different periods, first from 1930 to 1945, and then again in the early 50s. His influence on the modern Brazilian state is simply massive.
He was often called the father of people living in poverty, but he was also a dictator at various points. He really centralized power in Brazil and shifted the country from an agrarian economy based on coffee toward a diversified industrial power.
He focused heavily on infrastructure and urban development, creating state-owned companies that fueled Brazil's growth for the rest of the century. He was a master of balancing populist appeal with authoritarian control, a combination that dominated Brazilian politics for decades to come.
From the serious world of nation building, we move to someone who brought a very different kind of influence to the world. April 19th, 1935, marks the birth of the legendary English entertainer, Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore was such a multifaceted talent.
Most people probably remember him for his starring roles in massive Hollywood hits like 10 or Arthur, but he was much more than just a comedic actor with great timing.
Absolutely, Daniel. He was a brilliant jazz pianist and a highly respected composer. He actually got his big break as part of the comedy revue Beyond the Fringe, which was a massive cultural touchstone in the 60s, and helped launch a new wave of British satire.
He had this incredible range, Adriana. He could go from a sophisticated musical performance to high-energy slapstick without missing a beat. He really helped define a certain era of British and American comedy with that unique charm.
Now, we have discussed wars, law, and comedy. But our final fact for today is perhaps the most unusual journey of all. Today is officially known in some circles as Bicycle Day.
And it has nothing to do with the Tour de France. It commemorates a very specific and world-altering ride taken by Swiss chemist Albert Hofmann in 1943.
Hofmann was working at Sandoz Pharmaceuticals when he decided to conduct a self-experiment. He intentionally ingested 250 micrograms of a compound he had synthesized called LSD-25, wanting to understand its effects firsthand.
As the drug started to take effect, he realized he needed to get home, so he hopped on his bicycle. Adriana, imagine the scene, a chemist pedaling through the streets of Basel while experiencing the world's first intentional psychedelic trip.
He described it as a kaleidoscope of fantastical colors and shifting shapes. That short ride became one of the most famous journeys in the history of science, sparking decades of research and debate into the very nature of human consciousness.
It's a bizarre and influential footnote in modern history. From the birth of a nation in 1775 to the birth of a new era of brain science in 1943, April 19th has proven to be quite a ride.
It really is. From Roger Sherman's historic signatures to Dudley Moore's timeless music, this date is a testament to the incredibly diverse ways humans leave their mark on the world.
I'm Daniel Brooks.
And I am Adriana Costa. Deep Dive is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. Explore history every day on Neural Newscast. Visit deepdive.neuralnewscast.com to discover more stories that shaped our world.
This has been Deep Dive on Neural Newscast, exploring the moments that shape today.